What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the All Things Liverpool podcast with me, Anish Dogra. And even though the season is over, and even though the football is finished, the content and the drama and the excitement, it still does not stop. And boy, the last couple of days, weeks, everything since the Champions League final, it's been quite exciting, and I'm glad it is because obviously with very little football on now. Of course, we got a bit of Nations League, and of course the Women's Euros coming out soon, which will be great to watch. There still isn't much going on right now, so we need something to fill our times with, something to keep us going. And it's been great that the transfer window has been very, very exciting, as you can tell by the big grin on my face. So a lot's going on with Liverpool, both in terms of incomings and outgoings, contracts, decisions to be made, and all of that, as you can see in the headings below. And where else better to start than with Darwin Núñez? So looking ever likelier that he will be a Liverpool forward. He will be signing for the club on a 5-year contract to 2027 for what is reportedly an €8 million contract a year, which equates to about £130,000 a week contract. And in terms of the transfer fee, it's looking like an €80 million bid, well, offer up front. Of course, I'm not sure what the details are of that fee, whether it'll be paid over several years, which is highly likely because that's how transfers work most of the time, in the sense that you pay a transfer fee over the length of a contract or in installments. So it'll be 80 million euros guaranteed, which again roughly about £70 million. So it wouldn't quite match the price we paid for Van Dijk in terms of being our most expensive signing ever. But however, there is of course another 20 million euros added on with extra bonuses and performance related add-ons, which then would make it to a £100 million signing, roughly £90 million, and therefore eventually do becoming our most expensive player in our history. So a very exciting signing, a very interesting signing. I think that's the way I'm going to put it, because for a player to cost £100 million, and yes, we are in a market nowadays where players are extremely expensive, and since the Neymar transfer, everything has been overinflated. The going rate now for an okay player nowadays seems to be about 30-40 million pounds. Never mind that they could be potentially world class or are world class. It's just the going rate. And with someone like Núñez, of course, he's had a brilliant season for Benfica. I think he scored 34 goals in their league, the Portuguese league, and he got 3 or 4, I think maybe even 5 in the Champions League, 2 against us, no less. In fact, we'll talk about that in some detail. And his age, of course, 22 years old, so a lot of time to improve, a lot of areas he can improve upon. But the most important thing is that there is a lot of quality there. And yes, of course, it is a lot of money. It is, of course, a potentially club record fee. But with transfers nowadays and with players and how much they cost, it's all circumstantial. No one talks about Virgil van Dijk's transfer fee anymore, because why? He's repaid that transfer fee and then some. It's the same with Alisson. But then you look at it on the flip side. You look at Kepa, for example. Who's done okay in parts, but hasn't fulfilled his price tag, his 70 million price tag. Hence why people still talk about it. Same with Maguire. So it's only a waste of money if he doesn't perform. But given the track record of this club with signings and the analysis they go into, the depth and how much research, scouting, checking that everyone in that club does, all the way from the top with used to be Mike Edwards, and then Mike Gordon as well, the FSG president, and a figure who's heavily involved in transfers. And then you're looking at the other members in the team, such as Julian Ward, who is now, of course, the sporting director after Mike left. So clearly they know what they're doing. They were doing it for a long, long time, and other than maybe a couple of names here and there, you can't say that any of the signings have been have not worked out. So Núñez, excellent signing. Really looking forward to see, when it'll be announced. I'm literally, I've been on Twitter all day, every day since I heard the news this morning that we were interested in him and were heavily linked in signing him. I've not been off Twitter since then, and since Paul Joyce reported this morning, and James Pearce and Dominic King, it's just gathered pace. And now I think we're at a stage now where you're getting a lot of the European journalists, the South American journalists, who of course might have closer ties to the player and to the club. Their reporting is pretty much a done deal now. So with the 80 million plus 20 on top and the 5-year contract, so for me, it just seems a formality. And James Pearce again has come out saying, there's a strong feeling inside the Liverpool camp that it will get done. And of course, the added factor that Manchester United were keen on him. I'm not sure how keen they were, or how serious they were in trying to secure his signature. But the fact that they were linked, and it seems like it's gone under the nose. It does sweeten it a little bit more. So in terms of Nunes though, and the profile that he is, and the kind of player he is, it is an interesting signing because, for me, it's something different, something that we've not done ever since Klopp has arrived. When you look at the first season that Jurgen Klopp came in 15-16, he had Christian Benteke. Of course, it wasn't his signing, Brendan Rodgers' signing, but you had a player like that who has got some, pace. Isn't obviously a slow player. Tall striker. He's 6 foot. He's 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is. Obviously, very strong. Big physique. And a very good person, a very good player in the air. And then you look at the way he was sold immediately. Literally within the next 8 months, he was no longer a Liverpool player, and he went to Palace. And somehow we got our money back, or we lost maybe a million or two. And then you look at the profile of player that Klopp brought in. Bringing in Sadio Mane, and then playing Roberto Firmino, who was a forward. He never really had like a destined position. I think at times in that first 8 months under Jurgen Klopp, he was playing on the left, he was playing on the right, played as a number 10, played as a number 9. So Firmino was never really had a destined position. But then you look at him and the way he evolved, he became that false 9, and it became his role, his position. And it became a lot like, how it's looked like over the years. You had Firmino dropping deep, supplying the balls into Mane with that pace, with that finishing ability, and then Mane coming in from a wide position, moving inwards, and getting on the end of those through balls. And that's how it's been since Jurgen Klopp's from pretty much all of Jurgen Klopp's tenure. And then you're adding in Salah on the other channel, and that's been the system from then on. And then you add in Jota. Again, very similar kind of profile. Small, not a huge player, not a big player. Quick, of course, obviously good in the air, good finishing ability, good, close control, all of that. And you're kind of thinking, okay, this is the system. This is how the system is going to be for however long this club is going to be here until the next manager comes. And it's going to be that false 9, someone who can drop deep and play, that playmaking kind of role, but also score goals and contribute going forward. And then you have the wide forwards, the Salah and the Mane on either side. And then in this case, now it's looking like Diaz and Jota, and whoever else could come in the future. But now with the signing of Nunes, it kind of seems to me that we're going in a different path, which is, for me, really exciting. It's been really, really exciting. And of course, you can never take for granted stability and the steadiness that the attack has offered us since 2017. It's been consistent. It's been a lot of goals, a lot of fun, a lot of success. And no one would have ever bat an eyelid if Klopp didn't want to change the system, if he wanted to keep that same front 3, that false 9, and those 2 wide forwards, and attack that way with Trent and Robbo keeping high and wide and supplying crosses into the box. But now with Nunes, you got a different kind of profile. I mean, having a look at the kind of player he is, Darwin Nunes. Let's have a look at his stats. So this season, for example, He's pretty much played centre forward. 28 games as a centre forward, 18 goals, 3 assists. Sometimes as a second striker, 8 games, 6 goals, and interestingly, sometimes as a left winger with, in fact, quite impressively, 10 goals in 5 games in 5 games playing on the left channel. But you can see he is a centre forward. He pretty much plays as a centre forward. He is a striker, and he leads the line. Now, what that kind of means, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down this route, is a change of system. And I can see this happening because, yes, again, it's been a near flawless system the way we played over the last few years. 100 goals pretty much in all competitions over the last couple of years, 92 goals in the Premier League last season. So clearly it works. But at the same time, and in fact, I'll exhibit the Champions League final, and maybe I guess you can say the FA Cup and Carabao Cup finals where we also didn't score. You look at those 3 games, and the chances we created in all 3 of those matches with an out-and-out striker and a real number 9, a real finisher. You would probably say Liverpool scored maybe 4 or 5 goals in those 3 games overall. If you're looking at the FA Cup final, I think Diaz had a good chance. We hit the post, the right post, and it was Mendy's left. You're looking at the Mane chance, Courtois saved, of course, brilliant save. Don't get me wrong, but the way I see it with those kind of players, they'll never be out and out natural finishers. They'll never be someone like a Harry Kane, a Robert Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, someone of that ilk. Don't get me wrong. Again, wonderful players, unbelievable strikers. But sometimes it's that little bit of accuracy, that 1% that makes someone like a Kane and a Lewandowski compared to a Mane and a Salah. And again, whilst with Núñez, you can't put him in that bracket. Yeah, you definitely, absolutely no way you can put him in that bracket with Kane and Lewandowski. But the profile he is and the kind of player he is, you can see why Klopp wants to go that way. You can see why he wants to have a real striker. And I think what's most important is it's a different kind of player as well. When you're looking at all those front players, they're small, they're quick, they're not particularly okay. They've got good physicality, but they're not strong like a Lewandowski or a Kane where they can hold the ball up. And Núñez offers that kind of, offers that. He offers that variety of being able to hold the ball up, being able to bring players into play, and it'll be really interesting to see how he fits in. Whether it's now a change of system, we go to maybe a 4-2-3-1 with a number 10, and 2 wingers where again they'll be supplying as much as they will be scoring. I still fully think that Trent and Robertson will still have their numbers in terms of assists, and crosses into the box and successful passes. So that I don't expect to change. But maybe it's now at the end of the 4-3-3 system, and it's a change into a 4-2-3-1, which is something that Klopp built at Borussia Dortmund. He had. In fact, now I'm thinking about it, it's almost quite a replica in a way. You look at Dortmund, the fullbacks of Piszczek and Marcel Schmelzer, 2 unbelievable fullbacks at the time. I think they were being linked with all the top clubs in Europe during Klopp's time, but they stayed at the club, which is fair play to them. And then you're looking at midfield, it was like Gundogan and Sebastian Kehl. You had one defensive midfielder who would protect the back 4, and one who would be a bit more like a playmaking kind of defensive mid, someone who could spray passes left and right and forward and 60-yard passes and all of that. And you're looking at this Liverpool team, you have Fabinho and Thiago, kind of on the same pattern. And then at that time, it was Götze in the 10, Marco Reus on the left, and Blaszczykowski on the right, and then Lewandowski up top. And you could almost potentially envisage that kind of replication at Liverpool now, with the next season, the next 2-3 seasons under Klopp, and with the kind of players that we could be recruiting. So for me, I do think it is going to be a new generation of this Liverpool team. I think it's going to be a second version, which is again really, really exciting because it's new. You don't know what you get, and after years and years of the same stuff, again, really great stuff. And I wouldn't have complained. None of us would have complained had it remained the same for forever, really, because it clearly works. But it's also exciting to see something new and seeing a new change in the team, a new kind of forward, a different kind of profile, and someone who could be leading the line at Liverpool for many years to come. So Darwin Núñez looks like he's on his way to Anfield. Great, hopefully a great addition. Again, you can never know what you'll get from the Portuguese league. Of course, we got very lucky with Diaz, an outstanding player. But in years gone by, you've seen some players come from Portugal who haven't quite adjusted to England and the physicality of it. But again, looking at the kind of player he is, big guy, strong guy, tall, quick as well, you would like to think that he can adjust to it. And going back to the original point, this club almost never makes bad signings. And the fact that FSG are willing to put in £100 million. Clearly, everyone inside the club thinks he is going to be the real deal. So hopefully it'll be a good addition. Hopefully the deal gets done soon. And whilst I have a look, let's check Twitter again, because literally it is a changing landscape. 1 second, he'll be linked. The next, it'll be a done deal. So at the moment, it's still looking like it's going to be, it's not quite confirmed, but Neil Jones from Goal, another, very well-respected journalist and someone I'm sure you've heard of before. He's just reported that Liverpool are prepared to pay a club record fee of more than £75 million to get Núñez, also wanted by Manchester United. And yeah, it looks like just a matter of time, and hopefully in the next day or two, a deal will be agreed, and then he'll of course he'll undertake the medical, and I think personal terms have been agreed as well. So it's looking like that's not going to be an issue. So hopefully Núñez is good. Hopefully he'll be great, and of course wishing the best of luck. But one player who looks like he will be heading out of Anfield with a heavy heart, of course. He's been one of the most excellent players that Liverpool could have ever had in their history. A Liverpool legend, in my opinion. Someone who's done everything for this club and couldn't really do much more in Sadio Mane. Of course, for a couple of weeks now, or ever since the Champions League final, and leading up to that, he's been pretty much hinting about his future. Then after, he said he confirmed he wanted to go, wants a new challenge, which you can't blame him. Of course, when you've been at one club for 6-7 years, you want to try something else, you want to experience something else. And fair enough too. But with the way things are going, I'm not sure what Bayern Munich are paying at. I mean, for the first offer, £21 million with $4 million in add-ons. I mean, to quote John to paraphrase John W. Henry, what do you think they're smoking over there at the Allianz? Because it's a ridiculous bid. It's plain and simple. Of course, I understand that he's got 1 year on his contract, and you can get him for obviously a much lower fee. But £20 million for a player like that, no, that's ridiculous. And then, of course, swiftly rejected by the club, understandably and rightly so. I think that's an absolute joke of an offer. And considering as well, I think I saw some rumors where they want 50 million for Robert Lewandowski, who is firstly I think 3 or 4 years older than Sadio Mane, and B, also a year left on his contract. So I'm not sure what they're thinking. And of course, you can maybe argue that Lewandowski is better than Mane, but for me, not really. I think they're both absolutely exceptional players. I think they're both worthy Ballon d'Or winners, and for me in the same category. So crazy to think that they think Lewandowski is worth more than Mane, and crazy to think that they put that bid in. So 21 million plus 4 in add-ons, swiftly rejected, rightly so. Then they come back again today. 30 million this time, which, okay, a little bit better, but still way off the market. But this is the funniest bit, and you can see by my face, it is absolutely hilarious. It's, I think, 3 or 4 million pounds in add-ons, and the add-on is that he wins multiple Ballon d'Ors, i.e. 3, I think. 3 is the number that I saw, and a few Champions Leagues. Okay, cool. Let's try and get a guy who, of course, deserves to win a Ballon d'Or, but let's try and get him to a number where only Ronaldo and Messi can reach those kind of numbers, and obviously have reached those numbers. And you're thinking about it from a different perspective, in the sense of a player from Africa. Only one player from Africa has ever won the Ballon d'Or. I can't quite remember his name off the top of my head, but it's absolutely crazy to think that it's a realistic add-on, and I'm all for add-ons. Of course, that's how we're doing the bit for Nunes with the extra 20 million in add-ons. But you got to make it realistic. It's got to be like, okay, we can give you 30, 35 or 37. Well, firstly, with a transfer bid, it has to be way higher. It has to be at least in the high 30s, maybe low 40s. I think that's reasonable, even with the year on his contract. And then for add-ons, something like, okay, one Champions League. You can say, okay, fair enough. You're obviously a big club, and that is quite a viable add-on. Or something like Mane wins the Golden Boot in the Bundesliga. Again, a reasonable add-on. But with 3 Ballon d'Ors, when he's also in his approaching 30 now, so he's not going to have many more years left at the highest level. Maybe 3 years, 4 at a push, I think. So for him to have that kind of to get 3 Ballon d'Ors in 4 years, very, very unrealistic. So crazy from Bayern, and a bit disappointing from them because a club like them, I expect a lot of class, a lot of grace with how they do their dealings. But so far, it's been quite disappointing from them, and not been very impressed with how they've done business so far. And none of us have, to be fair, and rightly so. But I think at the current state of play, it's still looking highly likely that he will leave Liverpool. And of course, with Liverpool pushing for this deal for Nunes, they think he will go as well, and they probably do think that Bayern will match their offer of £40 million or thereabouts, and I think as well one of the chief sporting directors, or I think someone higher in the ranks, are coming over to Liverpool and to meet with Julian Ward and the rest of the Liverpool transfer committee to try thrash out a deal and make sure it gets done. So wouldn't surprise me if the deal gets agreed in the next 48, 72 hours, or at a push in the next week. And again, looking like a case, it will be goodbye Mane, and he will be sorely missed. Of course, unbelievable player, one of the greatest in our history. 100 Premier League goals, which is of course an unbelievable achievement. And again, we wish him the best of luck when and possibly if he leaves Liverpool. So with Mane going, Nunes potentially arriving, there is of course still a lot to be going through at the club, especially at the fringe kind of basis. So players like Minamino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, as you can see there at the bottom, of course Divock Origi now left the club, and there will be plenty more additions. Plenty of other players who will be departing Anfield in the next months. So starting with Minamino, I think from what I've heard and what I've been seeing on Twitter over the last day, it's a £17 million price tag that Liverpool have put on him, which I think is it's a good price tag. In fact, I wasn't expecting them to put it that high. I thought maybe we can get 10 to 12, maybe 15 at a push for him. But when you look at his track record since he's come to Liverpool, of course, the first 6 months he arrived was very difficult for him. Of course, when signing in January, getting adjusted to a new life, new city, new club, all of that, and the pandemic hits and lockdown, spending 2 or 3 months, maybe just by himself or whoever he has with him living in Liverpool, and not obviously seeing your players and your manager. So the first 6 months, the first half season was tough. Second season, a little bit better. Had some good moments. I think I remember he scored in the Community Shield against Arsenal, which was a good moment for him. I think that was his first Liverpool goal. And then at Southampton, he went on loan, looked okay there, had a few good moments. And this season, he's been fantastic, really. I think he's got the best goal-to-minute ratio across the Premier League with everyone else. I think he's got like 10 goals in 11 starts in all competitions. And a big part of why we won both cups this season. Scoring in pretty much all the early rounds. Which got us obviously to the finals, and then we won. Of course, that goal against Leicester in the Carabao Cup, to take it to penalties, which was huge at the time. So clearly there is a lot of potential there. Still a good age. I think he's in his mid-20s now, so for a player at that age, reaching his prime years. And from his point of view, he'll also want to be playing regular football because he's too good to be like Liverpool's fifth or sixth choice attacker. More than good enough to be playing in most Premier League teams. And from the clubs who have been linked, Leeds United I've seen. I think Wolves were another club. Fulham were another one, and I think it was Monaco from France. So if he were to get a move to a Leeds or a Wolves, I think that'd be a great move for him. The way Leeds play with a lot of quality, a lot of attacking football, it would definitely suit him to a T. And of course, the way the amount of speed they have in that team, so would seem like a good move for him. And similarly, Wolves again, obviously they play with a back five and a bit more of a defensive system. But when you got Neves and Moutinho in that midfield, two absolute maestros on the ball, someone like him would love that service coming whether he plays anywhere in attack. And then you got other players there like Jimenez, who was a brilliant forward player. I think the way he scores and also links up the attack. So again, a good move for him. Fulham, I think, would be a bit of a risk for him. Obviously, if he were to go to Fulham, they've just obviously come up, and congratulations to them. But when you're coming to a promoted club, of course, their main ambition will be to survive and solely survive. Especially after the last few years, they've come up and gone down. I think in back-to-back seasons now. So for Minamino to go there again, good move. He would be like one of the main men, but on the flip side, especially being one of the main players, it would be a lot of pressure. So again, if he's up to the task, if he wants to move to Fulham, then by all means, and he would be a great fit for any of those three clubs. And again, with Monaco, with a different lifestyle, and a different atmosphere, again, it wouldn't be a bad move for any of those clubs. So whether any of those four meet the asking price or are close to it remains to be seen. But again, it seems like a case of when and not if he leaves Liverpool this summer. And hopefully for his sake, he does get a move because he deserves to be playing first team football and not just in the cup games. Similarly as well with Oxlade-Chamberlain, again, another one I've seen today who has been told he can leave Liverpool if he wants to. Also a year left on his contract. So if he does stay this summer, I think the club will be happy for him to stay. And then next summer he'll leave on a free. But simultaneously, I think they would also prefer to get some money in for him, as would everyone, really. I think it's just the best for all parties now. Again, one who could have been really, really good. Obviously, really unfortunate he picked up that ACL injury against Roma, I think, in the 2018 Champions League, in the run to the first final we got to under Jurgen Klopp. And that really set him back because at the time, he was probably our best midfielder, I would say. He was that link that perfect link, really, from playing in a midfield three where you have to obviously work a lot and win the ball back and be aggressive, to also driving forward and supplying passes into the attack. So he was excellent in that position, in that left channel. I think he usually played in. And it was just like a perfect position. And sadly, with that injury, it really curtailed. And as we've seen with so many players in the past, ACL injuries are one of the toughest to come back from. And in fact, we should probably single out Van Dijk after he returned, and he's basically the same player since he suffered that horrific injury. But for most, it is difficult to come back, and he showed moments since then of producing some consistent form. But when you, again, like Minamino, good player, but when you've got players like Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Keita ahead of you in the pecking order, then it is really difficult to break into. So would be for him, he would obviously, if he wants to have any aspirations of still playing regularly and maybe even potentially breaking back into the England squad, then a move would be wise for him. It would be good for us to get some money back and recoup some of that transfer fee we paid for him. And like Minamino, just great for all parties that if your deal can be done this summer. And so far, I think the strongest link club I've seen is West Ham. I think Neil Jones again reported it today. where they are interested. So that would be good for us if we can offload him to them. And for them, a great move, because obviously they've got European football again next season. And as we saw at the back end of this season, they really did tail off after having to deal with that semi-final run to the Europa League and trying to remain competitive in the Premier League. So for them, a good player to have in their squad, someone they could use, a good player to use everywhere in midfield or everywhere on the wing, and to get goals and assists. So hopefully for them, they are able to secure their moves and still have a good future. And someone who looks like he will be staying is Naby Keita, which for me, a bit surprised, I want to say. He's I think he's, well, as you can tell by my reaction, he is one who definitely does split the fan base, and one who sometimes can be unbelievable, can be a great player, but on other occasions doesn't look like he can be up for it. Doesn't look like he's fit enough or strong enough or quick enough or any of those things, and can be a bit underwhelming. And I think I said this so many times in the past. He's basically our Paul Pogba. Someone is an incredible player, can be an incredible player, sometimes is an incredible player, but on other occasions does let you down. But clearly, Klopp thinks he deserves a new contract, and I think Liverpool are pushing to sign him on a new deal. Again, another one who's got 12 months left on his current deal, and Liverpool obviously don't want to lose him for free, especially after paying £50 million for him back in 2018. So if Klopp, again, you got to go by the original basis on the way this club signs players on, gives new contracts out, and makes and conducts new transfers. If the club do it and they think it's right, then it's more often than not right, because the track record, the history, the choices they make, it's basically been a 9 out of 10 for pretty much all of it, 10 out of 10 at times. So hopefully with this new contract, Keita gives some renewed confidence, stays injury free, and is able to eventually show that potential that was the reason for Liverpool spending £50 million on him from RB Leipzig in 2018. And for me, he's kind of annoyed me at times, but I still think there is a good player there. I still think there is a lot of quality there, and at times this season he has been fantastic. I remember at Newcastle away, he was very, very good, scored an excellent goal. Same with Atletico away. And I think against Villarreal in the second half, he dictated the tempo. And again, at times, he has really shown unbelievable quality and a lot of skill. So if Liverpool want to keep him, great. If Liverpool want to sell him, great. And hopefully, one way or another, a decision will be made, and either he stays and signs a new deal, or we sell him this summer and give some money back. But that is all we've got for today. And of course, it's been a lot to get through, a lot of players. And, over the next few weeks, we will still be doing shows. And in fact, I think we will be carrying on the regular shows, but with different themes. Potentially, I think next week we might be doing a keep or sell show where we'll be going through the Liverpool squad and deciding whether these who should be sold, who should be kept, who should be put on loan, and things like that. And of course, I think there's still gonna be a lot of transfer rumors going on. And I have a hunch this is not going to be the last transfer Liverpool make after Nunes. I still feel they will try to get one more face in, maybe another young forward or a young midfielder to freshen that squad up and to get to keep that and to start a new iteration of this Liverpool team and build a new era under Jurgen Klopp. So I hope you've all enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully Nunes is signed in the next few days, and we'll be looking forward to seeing him in a red shirt very soon. But anyways, that is all we've got for today. Hope you've all enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon.